It's pretty tough to find something that 97% of Americans agree on. Puppies don't even poll that well, but 97% of Americans think that you should have a background check before buying a gun. Way back in the 1920s, a relatively new organization called the National Rifle Association proposed that states should pass laws regulating handguns, the sales of which were starting to explode all across America. Only suitable people with a good reason for owning a gun should be able to possess a gun, said the NRA, and only after a reasonable waiting period. Well, a few states bit, but it wasn't until 1993, after the assassination attempt on President Reagan, that Congress passed the Brady background checks law to establish the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, better known as NICS. The Brady bill required all licensed sellers to conduct a background check before somebody can buy a gun. By then, though, the NRA had been taken over by right-wing extremists and now hated the idea that anyone should be banned from buying guns. But most Americans liked the new law. And now, when you go buy a gun from a federally licensed dealer, in person or online, your name is run through the background check system to make sure that you're not prohibited from owning a firearm. That check normally takes about 90 seconds. Convicted felons, domestic abusers, and people who are severely mentally ill aren't allowed to buy a gun. The good news is, background checks work. Since the Brady Law was enacted, over 300 million background checks have taken place, and over 3 million sales to criminals and people who are seriously mentally ill were stopped by a background check. But a lot has changed in the last 25 years, and our gun laws haven't kept up. The Brady bill only requires background checks by licensed gun dealers, not private sellers who push guns online or at gun shows. People who shouldn't be able to buy a gun are taking advantage of these loopholes. Gangs smuggling guns into Central America just buy their guns at gun shows. ISIS put out a video last year telling their recruits in America to do the same. This November, candidates across the country ran with a promise to keep our communities safe from gun violence. And they won, big time, everywhere. So now we're taking action. I teamed up with Mike Thompson in the House of Representatives to introduce the Background Check Expansion Act, a bill to close loopholes in our gun laws and require a background check for every sale. I'm going to do everything I can to get our Background Check Expansion Act signed into law. But you matter more. Call your legislator, make noise on social media, join an anti-gun violence group, show up at a town hall, and demand that it's time to pass universal background checks.